After a week of technical related absence, we are back. Hello and welcome back to the MMA Split podcast. I am your host, Matt. I am here with
Sylvester,
Josh,
and we're back finally to talk about a lot of different things. This is going to be both the pick show for the card later this week, but of course, there was a very big card the weekend before last that me and Sly had a great conversation about. Honestly, probably second best episode that we've ever recorded. And like the best episode that we've ever done, went down the technical pan. This one I didn't forget to record. We weren't doing it on Zoom. I got all cocky thinking that I could record in slightly better HD. It's all going to look really cool. Tried to record it straight onto my editing software and the file corrupted, which was pretty heartbreaking. But we're going to do a little quick 10-minute recap of our thoughts on UFC 270 and everything that's happened since. We had one new champion and one retaining champion in the opposite direction than I was expecting. Josh, me and Sly have already heard each other's reports on this. What was your thoughts on 270?
I mean, starting straight away, Francis Ngannou, kind of blown away that he managed to do that with an absolute shot knee. Just, you see so many holes in the guy's game. It just doesn't matter. The more he embraces like a well-rounded skill set, like the scarier he's going to be. To think that he did that basically on one leg is just ridiculous. He looked, I mean, the first two rounds he loses, okay? Couldn't move very much. Like France, Cyril Gane comes in, just, one shot and out again. Smart thing to do. Easily takes those first two rounds. Third round, Ngannou gets the takedown. I know you said you thought if Ngannou gets the takedown, it's going to be fight over. Cyril Gane did just enough, to kind of survive these situations. Ngannou, one knee notwithstanding, still going to be quite limited in what he can do. But I was really impressed with the scissor sweep. I think, is it in the fifth round he pulled that one out? Ngannou looks like he's going to chase the leg lock again. Ngannou sweeps him. It looks like an instructional video. It looks like they're trying to go through it in slow motion so that you can see what's going on. But still, you see two big guys scramble that way. It's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, man, just blown away. I mean, you almost want to talk more about whether or not we see him fight for the UFC again. Like that almost seems like the bigger narrative from the weekend. Wait, how did you guys feel about the fight?
So really impressed with Ngannou's the ability for him to adjust, implement the wrestling. Obviously, wasn't exactly a barn-burning fight, but certainly if you know Ngannou's career and you know what happened in the first Stipe fight, and to see that progression is just incredible. And like you say, the fact that he had the bum knee, the fact that he'd bet everything on himself, pretty much put the financial level and future of his career on winning this fight, and he was able to pull it out, I thought was extremely impressive. But to be honest, my feeling, and I kind of feel that you can apply a little bit of this to the co-main event, but certainly to the main event. For me, it was a case of experience. This is what I kind of said to Sly when we failed to record a week ago, is the problem with the Cyril Gane is he's been so effective at this one aspect of MMA that he hasn't really had anybody really push him. Like, he's been able to quite comfortably beat people with plan A. And I feel that the moment the takedown landed, his confidence kind of went out because he hasn't had to deal with that person that was just able to take him down and keep him down and have to adjust and mentally adjust to that. And I think there was a little bit of poor fight IQ because in that fifth round, Ngannou was tired. We know now that the knee's busted. And Gane was on top of him, had him flat on his back. And I got to be honest, I don't know how much there was in Ngannou. And I think he would have eventually got up, but I think you could have landed strikes. I think you could have got control time that ended up being control time for Ngannou. And he just went for a leg lock. And you're thinking to yourself, like, you're throwing away this really good position that if you just don't worry about finishing, and I think maybe his coaches affected him as well, because they should have told him win the round.
Well, do you think he knew about the knee injury? Because I mean, there were leaks. We were hearing rumors that he had a fucked knee, but do you think it's possible that they actually specifically knew about the knee injury and were targeting it?
No, and I don't think that's why he went for the leg lock. I think he went for the leg lock because in the 4th round, Fernan Lopez gave him the impression that he was 3 rounds down. So he kind of went for things, I think, in a fight-ending sequence rather than just trying to win the round, which obviously, from what we know, was a little bit foolish. And, you know, even when there was a second moment, or obviously when we're talking about the scissor sweep, that he goes for it again, and it happened earlier in the fight when he went for the Kimura, where it's something that when you're at a high level, you don't go for the Kimura or these leg locks sometimes expecting to get them. You do it because it forces the other person to defend it. You know that they'll take the right steps, and that gives you the space and leverage to be able to escape back to the feet and reset. And in both of those situations, he hung on to it. He didn't take those opportunities just to reset, get back on the feet, where he had won the fight for the majority of the time.
Yeah.
He was focused on, oh, well, this has worked, and I got that one guy with a heel hook and maybe a different guy with a Kimura. It's like, yeah, because you'll catch lower level guys with that. But title fight, Ngannou, who's trained a lot that you haven't seen in 2 years, is with a good camp. He will do the right things to get out of that, and he's too strong to just be arm muscled into it. So I think it was just a little bit of poor fight IQ. I think Gon's going to be way better as a result of this fight. And end of the day, he fought Ngannou and he didn't get knocked out. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's why I think he didn't try to get back to the feet in those later rounds. Like you say, experience. Ngannou did say he saw after the 3rd round the same look in his face that he had had when going up against Stipe, and he goes, "That's a broken man." I wonder how accurate that might be, because both guys were looking tired at the end of the fight. And for Gar, it's not a case of I've got rounds in the bank, you know, I've just got to edge this one. It's a case of I've really got to be light on my feet, in and out. I can't get caught with anything stupid, because this dude, like, doesn't just knock people out. He changes your quality of life with one stupid, awkward shot. That's just years of your retirement gone. That's just time invested in being a vegetable at the end. It's awful, but that's how hard this dude hits. I wonder if Garn was thinking, I would love to just try and snatch a submission here.
Well, I think
because I don't want to risk it on the feet.
I don't know, because I think that up until the takedown happens, I think he'd become pretty comfortable with his ability to land shots and not get hit. I think when the takedown happens, it just introduced this new element that he hasn't had to deal with. And this is what I mean about the match experience. You know, if he'd had to fight somebody like a Curtis Blades, which classically would be a guy that if you're having a normal run up the division and you're not kind of being selected because they think you're the perfect style matchup to beat the champ, you would have had to deal with. And a Curtis Blades would have presented you that problem more on the wrestling side, less danger, but it would have given you that understanding of, okay, can he deal with it? How does he deal with it? And then you would have been a better fighter before the title fight for having gone through that experience. So for me,
that
this
is Blades' fault, though, because Blades loses when Garn wins.
Yeah,
Blades beats Derek Lewis, and he's possibly fighting Ngannou for the undisputed championship.
You could put Stipe. You could put Stipe in that category as well. The point is this is why I feel like maybe certain people shouldn't have been jumped over with this guy, and that maybe this when you have a fighter and he goes on a run, and we all get excited, it's great, but he's only had 9 fights, and that's what makes me really excited. It's like you've had 9-10 fights now. You've lost only one, and it was a title fight. Close fight that you were in position to win even in the 5th round. Take nothing away from that but positivity. And how you might not have to fight Ngannou to get another shot at the belt.
What's the ranking? I'm trying to find out what the ranking of Curtis Blades is. But...
It's like 4th now, I think.
Yeah, 4 or 5. But
what was his last fight?
Obviously,
he's fourth.
Because above him would be
when you say skipping
Stipe.
guys out, it's really not Garn's fault, because the only other guy really, or the only two guys kind of in that conversation would be Sergey Spivak, who was behind him, too far behind him, and then loses, or the bioconstrictor, who again coming off the losses, they weren't going to match a rising guy with wins, coming off a streak. So I don't know how much has really been cherry picked. He's definitely been very fortunate with some of the matchups, and he has impressed against quality competition as well. But yeah, he hasn't had to have that style matchup. Truth be told, though, until Curtis Blades puts some wins together, he's not going to have to.
Just to clarify, not cherry picked. I'm not saying that he was.
Yeah, no, sorry, it's wrong way of saying it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's been steered away from guys. They've kind of shit the bed when they've had the opportunity to steal height from a guy like Garn. Blades loses to Lewis. Spivak lost to I can't remember now.
I think the point I'm trying to make is there are the guys that climb from 12 to 10 and 10 to 9 and 9 to 7 and 7 to 5. And then there are the guys that go from 15 to 10 to 10 to 6 to 6 to 3 to 1. And he is in that latter category. And he still beat the people. He still beat fighters that were ranked high. He matched every single challenge he had. But minutes in the cage is everything. And I think he will bounce back in the same way that we saw Ngannou bounce back. I still think the only three people that would really challenge Garn is Stipe, Ngannou, and eventually John Jones.
John Jones is retired. I don't know why everyone keeps mentioning him.
He's not retired. He's training with Cejudo.
I don't know, man. Yeah, because where do we go next, right? I mean, we've got Aspinall fighting in a month's time. Derek Lewis is probably one win away from being a serious contender again. John Jones potentially, Stipe potentially. I mean, shit. If they manage to re-sign Ngannou and make this happen, do you guys think the trilogy with Stipe is next for the champ?
I feel like that's the most deserved fight. I would say I would have thought it would be John Jones, but here's the thing.
Well,
I think one of those two gets paid.
Both sides.
This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. And it's going to be who pisses them off less. And they'll use each other to leverage against giving the person a good deal. And it's probably going to go, Ngannou is probably second tier on that. Because whatever you say about John Jones, he's made the money. He's got the personal connections. He's got the legacy. That's a way easy and really still undefeated, which is a much better sell than Ngannou at 35. And, John Jones has rapport with the fans. Whether you love him or hate him, you tune in to watch him. I don't know if Ngannou has got that same gravitas with the casuals.
Oof. It's hard to say, because Ngannou's the one that the most casuals, I suppose, or even not even just sports fans have come up and spoken to me about. Like, I remember when he made his debut, like, everyone in the office that week was just like, well, this dude's just going to be a champion one day. And I'm like, yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know, man. Like, we'll see. But there's something about that scary, freakish, athletic nature that gets everybody excited. And then with John Jones, yeah, he's a massive fucking dickhead. But he is one of the greatest ever on a technical level, no question. Talk about eye pokes all you want. At the end of the day, the guy is a fantastic fighter. He's so exciting to watch, especially when he has an off night and you think he might finally lose. I never get more excited than that. That's pretty paid, but yeah, shit, it would be so good. It's not going to happen. They can't pay both of them. I looked up. Ngannou fighting once a year makes less than a championship level footballer, as in the second tier of English football. In fact, once you factor in like travel and like healthcare and everything, he probably makes about what a League One footballer makes with all the endorsements.
There's one caveat to that, though. Even though the work itself is much more dangerous and it still involves a lot of training, your schedule is not as filled as a professional footballer. This is a long conversation, man. Like, it's with a lot of different caveats. There's no doubt none of these guys are paid well enough, as Jake Paul's recent diss track demonstrated. Please tell me you guys listened to that.
No, how good is it? It's probably really.
I'm not listening to it. I'm glad that someone with influence is talking about fighter pay outside of the actual sport. He is very much outside of the sport, by the way. I'm glad that someone with some with a big fucking soapbox is saying the right things. I'm not listening to the diss track.
Are you a big fan of Jake Paul?
Chris Cyborg makes an appearance in it.
I am not. It's very clear I'm not a fan.
Oh yeah, but it's
Chris Cyborg's in the video.
Like referenced in it, or she's in it?
No. She's in it. So it starts off with like actor playing Dana White, giving Chris Cyborg and he says, "Hey, we got this great contract for you. 15 fights, 12K a fight. Half of that's your win bonus. Just sign right here on the dotted line." And then she signs and walks off, and they all start laughing. These idiots never even read the contract. She's trapped for life. All this kind of stuff. And then Jake Paul walks in and starts dissing everybody. Weirdly enough, he spends most of it going after Masvidal and McGregor, and Dana White just kind of gets featured sort of around the fighter pay and the chorus. The chorus is fuck Dana White, fuck Dana White.
See, great lyrics.
At least it's factually correct. So that's something.
Did you know?
I'm still not going to watch it.
Did you know that Jake Paul is promoting the Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano fight with Eddie Hearn?
Sure. Look, I got no problem with these guys promoting fights, paying fighters. Triad gives people big fucking paydays, even if it is in a stupid fucking triangle. Whatever. Yeah, why not? Until he fights a boxer, though, I'm not going to talk about the guy like a boxer. And frankly, it's pretty clear him and his brother are grade A dickheads as well. So
I just love the fact
I'm
that
just
he
not
might
invested in them as people.
I just love the fact that he might actually be so petty and narcissistic that he might actually be able to change fighter pay for the good in an Ali Act form, with his motivation being nothing more than just to piss off Dana White. I think there'd be something beautiful about that. It'd be like if Gandhi freed India, not because he loved peace, but because he just really fucking hated the British.
Well, there is an ongoing attempt to actually reform the Ali Act to change it from boxer to combat sport athlete, so that MMA would be automatically included within it. It's been going on for years and years and years, parallel to the antitrust lawsuits. It is very much kind of from not the Mark Hunt lawsuit, but the Kung Lee, and then the separate one with Donald Cerrone. Is Cerrone in it? Maybe he's not. He pulled out the fighter union thing. Shit, whether there's 2 lawsuits ongoing against the UFC by former fighters. And if you kind of did a Venn diagram, most of them kind of fall in this middle thing as well, where they've been working to reform the Ali Act. I think it's Randy Couture mostly spearheads it. I'm probably fucking a lot of this up. I want to say Kung Lee, Richard Franklin, Randy Couture.
I've seen a video on it. I can't remember all the guys. I think Nate Quarry's involved in this as well.
Cage and Johnson. Yes, Nate Quarry is. Yeah, good.
One thing, your video's a bit glitchy at the moment, mate. Your audio's fine, but your video's just a bit glitchy.
You're all over the place, Josh.
Now it seems better. Now it's frozen again.
You're moving so fast.
Unfortunately, it's going to be the internet. I've got nothing else running. I should be all good.
Well, mate, we can still hear you. Yeah. We can still hear you. That's the key thing. Your sultry tones are still coming through. Let's switch back to the rest of UFC 270 quickly. I thought the card in general was pretty good. I thought it was a little top heavy going in, but actually there were great fights all the way through. Della Magdalena looks like the real deal. A couple of the second girl fight with Juarez against Demopoulos was awesome. And Brandon Moreno versus Figgy is an early fight of the year contender. That was great fucking fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. Also, the Johnny Barcelos, Victor Henry fight. Could not have been more wrong about that. What a great fucking performance. What a great fucking debut.
What a great fucking guy, man.
I am paying attention. Yeah, it was a really good card.
I love that thing of just like, yeah, listen, I'm 30, whatever. This is my go. I'm making the most of it. Let's fucking, let's try here. And on top of that, I thought, what other debuts? Steamroller Frivola threw us off. Didn't see that one coming, but he managed to storm in and get an impressive win. Mate, it's because you picked him to lose.
Yeah, no, I know. He's unpickable, apparently.
We're gonna have to veto him.
I'm just gonna start putting money on him. I'm putting money on him in real life, picking against him on the show. You know, if he's gonna make me look like a cunt, I should at least get some money for it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, makes total sense. And what were your thoughts on Figgy Moreno? I mean, obviously a great fight. I think when we watched it live, we thought maybe Moreno had that 5th round, but watching it back, hearing the Weasel do his breakdown, Figgy won the fight. Just landed the right punch in 2 rounds to turn it over.
Like it's one of those, like, I don't want to talk about the difference the knockdowns made, because this isn't boxing. Knockdowns don't win you the round; they don't get you your point. But those knockdowns did make the difference. You know, they were just trading rounds. I think Figgy takes the first, Moreno the second, go back and forth. Unfortunately, it's a 5-round fight, so Moreno draws the short straw. Great final round, great fucking fight. Eric Albarathin is very much trying to angle for a 4th fight, but he did come out and say that if they can't have the 4th fight, then he wants Kai Kara France next, because he wants to run it back, Brazil versus New Zealand, and he says they should put Israel Adesanya in Kai's corner. That's his stipulation. They'll let him have a title shot if Izzy coaches. It's just fucking stupid. How can you still be behind Paulo Costa? I know he's your boy. You don't need to back him like this. You don't need to try and get one back from him. The guy is a fucking mess of a human being. Just let it go, Eric. He might be your friend. He's an idiot. Let it go. I
look at this in a different way. We have got an opportunity for a true quadrilogy. I mean, it just never happens. But
what is the word for it? Is it quadrilogy?
I'm going with quadrilogy.
When was the last time it happened?
Dude, I bought the Alien movie box set, okay, when I was a teenager. 4 movies, Alien 1, Alien 2, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection, and it was called the quadrilogy.
Well, why can't we call this fight the Resurrection?
Why can't we just call it the Decider?
Was Resurrection the 4th one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Alien 3 is when they go back to Earth.
One's on like the prison compound.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then the 4th one is like 600 years later, and they clone her to get the aliens, and you've got fucking Ron Perlman, who's the only good thing in that movie, but he's so fucking good.
You know when she makes the basketball shot?
That's
she
real.
Actually makes that shot.
She actually makes that shot.
Ron Perlman turns around like, ah! Like he completely breaks character. He's just losing his shit. Like, yeah, because like that's the shot wanting to use. He's just in the background. That's in the fucking movie. Ron Perlman just going ape shit.
What is this? What?
Okay, so in the movie, they're trying to basically Ripley's been resurrected, and because of this, she has some of like the alien strength and coordination because none of it makes sense. Okay. But when she died, she had an alien inside of her just before she died in the 3rd movie, and then when they clone her, it's to get the alien out of her, but some of the DNA.
It's coming. That's what you normally do.
Yeah. So they're meant to show that she's got all these heightened reactions, and there's this kind of like crew at this military complex that are the ones that are like bringing supplies, and they're playing basketball. And then the scene is she's just meant to walk away, and like at the half court point with her facing the other way, she just throws the basketball over her head and it goes in. And obviously when they're composing this, they're like, we're just going to show you throwing the shot, and then we'll show it going in and everyone reacting. She's like, no, let me actually try and make the shot. And she does it, and everyone's like, what the fuck? On like the first take.
No, not everyone. A lot of people stayed in character. Ron Perlman didn't.
Enough of Alien.
Great moment.
Yeah. Enough of Alien Resurrection. Although, you know what? It's a terrible movie, but it has its fun moments. Definitely worth a watch. Solid hour and 40 minutes. But we're not here to talk about that. We've still got a pick show to do because we've got Hermansson versus Strickland tonight. Not tonight, this week. That's the one. Good little card running us into Houston's UFC 271 next weekend. And I've actually written my picks down this time. So I feel organized. The only ones I'm not 100% sure on, to be honest, I don't know what you guys think. I think this main event, I mean, I'm leaning Strickland, but really this is a who the fuck knows. Because I still feel like we don't quite know where Strickland matches with some of these other guys.
Well, also Hermansson, I mean, like the guy submitted like Kelvin Gastelum in how many seconds? Just he has that ability. He can just fucking pull it out. And also, if across a 5-round fight, if you just want to trade like 1-2s, he has proven that he can fucking hang in there and give as good as he gets. Although logic says Strickland's going to eat him alive on the ground, on the feet. If Hermansson is able to work some weird Imanari roll style entry or get a cheap takedown, then fuck, I don't know how long Strickland survives on the ground with him. It is a weird one. It's not quite a 50-50. It's more like a 70-30, but that 70-30 is like, that's assuming that nothing weird happens. Everything kind of goes to plan for sure, and I don't know that it will. I really wanted to pick Hermansson. I really wanted to pick him. I haven't. I really wanted to.
Sly, 2 questions. First, how was your burger?
Yeah, good. I think Strickland's going to win. He's got a better talk.
Well, he's got some talk, mate. He never shuts the fuck up these days.
I think that's really hard to compete with.
He's gone after everybody, man. He's gone after leftists, wokeists. Who'd he go after recently? OnlyFans. We went after OnlyFans. That's not the reason I'm picking Strickland, although they're all valid reasons to pick him.
Hasn't he got an OnlyFans?
No, he was mocking people for OnlyFans. And listen, it is a weird concept when you think that you've got a lot of porn on the internet for free. But, you know, each to their own. You can spend your money how you want. It's, you know...
It's certainly not just porn. Diego Sanchez is on OnlyFans. Some fighters have been putting, like, exclusive content, training videos, shit like that on OnlyFans. I haven't got deep pockets. I'm not investigating any of this. And if I was going to start investigating OnlyFans, I've got to be honest, I don't know that I start with Diego Sanchez.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my first pick. It wasn't on OnlyFans, but I told you that I did a fucking simp level deep dive into Paige Van Zandt's OnlyFans website, also that I could see some titties.
I remember that conversation. There are no titties on there, though, are there?
Oh, I got to the titties. I had to pay, but I got to the titties. You know what the sad part is?
Sly missed all of this.
Nah, they're just... not great fake boobs, man. Not great fake boobs.
I mean, how many fake boobs are great?
There are some.
Let's not make people believe all boobs are great. All boobs are great.
I suppose it's an expectation.
If you got weird boobs, if you have weird boobs, someone out there, not just one person, someone that's right for you, is going to fucking love those boobs. Because there's no accounting for taste.
That's true.
We're all fucking
That's true.
weird.
That's true. I suppose it's an expectation level thing as well, man. Like when it's somebody famous or like a hot person in an unexpected professional thing for being hot, obviously your mind goes to kind of places, and like the reality is just never going to match.
I know you say that, but then I think a lot of people imagine that I'm pretty hot naked, and I am aesthetically very pleasing naked. So
I'm so happy
make the
for
whole
you.
tubby thing work. Yeah.
Well, dad bods are in at the moment.
It's more than a dad bod. It's I don't know. You know, like that sort of first year after career professional football players have quit playing, have retired. And they're like, yeah, well, I stopped eating fish all the time. And I started drinking wine again. And and a bit of Ricky Hatton, you know. I remember Graham Lassai got fat as fuck within like 1 year of retiring. Proper Ricky Hatton.
I feel like
Ricky
fight
Hatton,
people are the worst at that. Like boxers were famous. Like, you ever seen Prince Nassim Hamed these days?
You know what? Yeah, I have. Yeah. Ricky Hatton though used to do it while he was still fighting. He would fight, get into shape, have a fucking ripped ass fucking body. Then he'd get fat as fuck, and then he'd come back and fight and get in shape again at the end of his career. But like, it was terrifying, to be honest. Like, it can't be healthy. Like, something has to give.
They say he could have boxed for another 4 or 5 years at a high level, but basically did so much damage to his body from that kind of shortened things and left him with a whole litany of problems.
Is this Nassim?
No, this is Ricky Hatton.
Oh, yeah.
Nassim was awesome until his last fight, and then he retired after his first defeat.
Oh, he's the guy. Yeah. He was, pretty entertaining.
He was an entertaining guy. He had some great matches. When the movie Aladdin came out, he once entered a ring for a title fight by literally being like lowered in on a sort of like magic carpet. And he sells it the whole time. He's literally like Aladdin, like this look of wonder around the audience. Oh, the showman. Speaking of showman, so here's the thing. I look at this fight and I think Sean Strickland throws very straight shots. It's very similar to what Marvin Vettori is like. He doesn't have the wrestling threat, but one of the issues that Hermansson had with Marvin Vettori is Hermansson's thrown a lot of looping things, and straight shots are going to be looping punches. Strickland's also taller and longer than Vettori, so I think it's easier for him to keep him on the outside. He likes to pressure. The takedown threat is there. The only thing I'd say with Hermansson, he's not an amazing wrestler. He's an excellent grappler when he gets the fight to the ground, but he's not a classical double leg takedowns. He can get you down, but it's not necessarily, he's not like a Derek Brunson in that regard. So the real question is, if Sean Strickland gets taken down with something from pressuring, is he going to get subbed, as Josh says? Or if he doesn't get subbed, is it going to affect his game? Because he likes to be on the front foot. Being on the front foot makes it easier for people to take you down. I still got to lean Sean Strickland because I think he might be something. And I feel like Jack Hermansson, there was promise, but I don't think he's really beyond a certain point. I think he can beat a lot of good fighters, but I think he loses to a lot more, all of the elite fighters.
It's funny.
There's always a threat, but you have to make some kind of mistake, or he has to be just fighting absolutely lights out on that night. And even then, you need to kind of take some risks to really let him kind of engage and be opportunistic. He can beat anyone theoretically. It's just, you know, if they're not coming in a bit awkward, a bit weird, a bit cold, if they're not having a bit of an off night, if they're not having a slow first round and feeling them out, he can be very ineffective. If you're just having a good fucking day, if you're coming at it with a good solid game plan, executing everything as you should, it's very hard for him to get a look in, but he is always a threat.
I'd agree with that. I'm going Sean Strickland. I'm going to go KO.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing as Matt.
So we might as well carpool.
So going in the same direction.
I was trying to do a different thing. I skip half of it, always leave them one more, yeah. Because to be honest, it's only quite recently that Sly came round to this being a thing that we say on the podcast, which really warmed my heart. And I don't want to take the piss. I want to overuse it. I want Sly to always love this. I want it to be a bonding thing for us now. This is like the metaphorical finger up your bum. You know, just really seals the deal.
What?
You don't
I know that didn't make much sense to me either.
I don't know. No, Josh, no.
That's a Boscombe handshake. It's
What's your pick, Josh? What's your pick?
KO, Strickland KO.
Okay, we're all going in the same
That's
direction.
why I said half the line.
I thought you were gonna half use it and then say that you were kind of like half agreeing with us, like you're going Sean Strickland, but a different method.
No. Look, honestly, it's such a hard one to pick. Yeah, never mind the method, but it's logic kind of dictates that Strickland's going to do enough damage across the first 2 rounds. Maybe he takes 3 rounds, but at some point, Hermansson, I think, is just going to kind of not break, but accept that he's not winning rounds anymore. He just needs to hang in there long enough to try and steal something cheap, and I don't think it comes. Strickland's probably going to get a chance to finish him.
Reasonable thought. Moving down to the co-main event, we have got Soriano taking on Nick Maximov. I've switched my mind on this one. Initially, I was thinking Soriano, but I'm going with the lesser-known prodigy, Nick Maximov.
Well, he did impress on his debut. I did think he looked pretty fucking good when it was the same night that the Diaz came back and fought Lauder, right? That was
I believe so. I'll tell you.
Ortega vault card, because that was the same night that we had the other guy from the Nick Diaz Academy. I can't remember.
UFC 266. So yeah. Volkanovski versus Ortega.
Yeah, I thought Maximov impressed. I wasn't expecting much given his teammate really sold his soul to get in there. I don't really know what the deal was with that, but that was an abysmal performance. Maximov impressed. Puna, though, it's a hard one to pick. I'm going to lean towards Puna. I'm going to go Soriano decision. But
I'm going Maximov decision.
I think Maximov might be a really good fight.
Soriano by decision.
Strong picks all round. Welterweight division, we have got the monster himself, Shavkat Rakmanov. Man, this guy has looked good in this small sample size that we've had of him in the UFC. He is so good. He's taken on Carsten Harris, and I can't see Carsten Harris winning this. Rakmanov is the man. He's 14-0. He's devastated. Who did he fight last? He devastated Michel Pereira, who we now know was probably on steroids during that fight.
Really? Why?
Because he's just been banned for like the 5th time in like 8 years, and now he's out of the UFC.
What, just now?
Yeah, like a month ago or 2 months ago or something.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going Rakmanov by
hundreds of euros. You had the Aki. Everything came in apart from Cowboy Oliveira against Rakmanov on his debut. Fucking submitted him in the first round. But I love him. But he cost me hundreds of euros, but I do love him.
Yeah. Rakmanov is going to submit Carsten Harris, in my opinion.
I'm going to go with the same as Matt on this one.
I'm going Rakmanov, but I'm a bit more conservative. I've gone by decision.
Doesn't Rakmanov make like vodka for Lidl or something? Or that Rashmanov? Rakmanov?
It's probably a similar name, but with no connection.
Oh, no, spelled different.
If it was spelled the same, I don't think it's still him.
No?
Nah.
Because it's strong vodka.
Yeah, but I'd love, and don't get me wrong, I'd love the idea that he's a multi-million euro producing.
No, the bottles go for 350.
He's 100,000
That's how you get to $1 million.
Very true.
You're
And he
a
just
lot
fights.
of units that way.
Oh, yeah?
And he just fights on the side.
Yeah, your profit margin will be fuck all, but once you start getting out to scale, you're still going to become a millionaire eventually.
Also, vodka's not that expensive to make.
It's just old potatoes in a bottle, mate. That's all that is.
Yeah, grain or potatoes. It's not a costly product.
Could we make it here? Could we become millionaires?
I apologise.
People do make their own vodka.
Ad break, guys. I was like for a wee.
People do make their own vodka. It's usually called moonshine.
Oh, right. Is that an ad break? As in, can we put YouTube adverts at this moment whilst Josh lags out of screen?
We could do a little advert just ourselves. I mean, nobody's paying us, but they might if we're giving them like free promotion. What have we got in my box of goodies? Brought to you by Coca-Cola.
I don't know. That's too big, man. We should go for like Fuente Liviana, Gibraltar.
Do you know who we need to speak to, man? We need to speak to Manscaped. They fucking sponsor every single podcast I watch, every single goddamn YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
And they might send us a free fucking Manscaped kit.
What's a Manscaped kit? Is that like building Lego for like?
No.
adults?
It's gentleman's grooming.
Hmm.
It's like it's a shaver for like your body and your balls and stuff like that.
I don't know if I want that to be sponsoring me.
Everyone's sponsored by it. Fucking Joe Rogan, if he needed sponsors, would be sponsored by it. He's probably got a lawnmower 4.0 in his house.
Talking of Joe Rogan, he's having a good time.
Mate, do you know what's really weird about this whole situation with Rogan? Have you watched his video talking about it?
Yeah. The little 10-minute clip.
Yeah. So depending on the news network or the article writing about it, completely changes what section they choose to quote him on. So all the major news is like Joe Rogan gives apology, admits he was wrong, and all that. And it leaves out all of the stuff like, I just like to get balanced opinions. Yeah, I'll try and level it up. And it's just literally just quotes, as he confirms, I get things wrong.
Yeah, I didn't see the news article. I just saw his 10-minute apology.
Just kind of reasonable, to be honest. Like, he's got to the point where he's so popular that you do kind of have to take into consideration like who's speaking, and you should try and make things more balanced. But as he says, he's just like, I'm not organized. I just fucking come on my show, come on Tuesday. I don't think about sort of when I time this stuff.
All right, let's talk about timing. What do you think of Aubameyang?
Mate, we don't need to talk about Aubameyang.
Oh, what the fuck is that? Was it a rat? Was it a dog?
If it's a rat,
It was a dog.
Was that the dog? Is that it? That thing? How can that be so loud?
He's a little crack fox, mate.
Oh, check this out.
By the way, lawnmower, just shave your balls, boys. Don't. I've seen all these pictures of these guys chewing up scrotums. All right, it's dangerous. It's just for some maintenance, I think.
I feel like we've gone off topic.
That's the Manscaped lawnmower. They do literally sponsor everybody. We should.
I'm not saying we use it.
Maybe
obviously, if they sponsor us, we're going to say that we use it and it's the greatest razor of all time. But I'm not saying we use it. I'm just saying that like they seem to sponsor a lot of people. We might have to have some more viewers first, but like them and NordVPN are like two of my first calls.
If we're like 100% of our viewers have hairy bollocks, I think they might just go for it.
That's possible. I
mean, you could use some of their products on your beard, no?
You know, I trimmed and shaved my own beard for years, and even though it's an absolute state right now, it's only because I had to cancel my appointment yesterday.
Wait, do you get appointments
to cut my beard now?
Do you get one of those like professionals that does it?
I pay a little over the odds, man. I pay like €30 for Anthony Obey, just so that I can get my beard cut in English, because every time I've tried to explain it in Spanish, it's gone wrong, horribly wrong.
Do you go to the really nice barbers that's around the corner in Publisec?
I might do myself a sec. I heard on the delay come through on yours. He is really loud. You know the Anthony Obey franchise across Barcelona. It's like you do everything in English, so it's just very, very easy to get your beard trimmed as you want it. But yeah, it's the Obey in Publisec. I wouldn't say it's fancy. They're nice enough, but yeah, I think you're thinking of somewhere different.
I might be thinking of somewhere different.
I know nothing about beards.
It's the sort of place that I should be spending €20 for the whole thing. But I pay an extra €10 to do it in English because I'm a fucking useless geary. I'll get my hair cut in Spanish, but you can't be fucking around my beard if we haven't had a very, very detailed conversation where I trust that you understood what I've said. I get really weird about it. Like back in the UK, there used to be times where I go in and I'd be like, I have a weird level of anxiety about my beard, and I really don't want you to fuck it up. So it's very important you listen to me. And they will tell me like, I'm just gonna cut your hair today. I'm too scared. I'm not gonna do the beard. Like, you useless fucks, just do the hair. I'm funny with the beard. I get weird about it.
Yeah.
But I can't.
I get my hair cut at Spanish barbers, but the thing is mine's pretty easy to explain. It's just Toro.
When was the last time you had no hair? What's the last time you had no beard?
No beard.
Well, hang on a sec. I think
growing a beard.
your connection's getting a little worse, mate. Is there a delay?
Probably good because OS is going crazy. I don't think I've got a delay on my end. Everything's crystal clear on my end, weirdly.
You haven't got fibre.
I grew a beard when I was 21. I reckon 21. And I shaved it off once for a job interview. That's it. So.
Did you get that job?
Like 10 years. I did not get that job.
Wasn't even worth it.
Mate, I went through a recruitment agency where a kid from our school worked and was the recruiter and was going to push me. It was a job where one of the guys from our football team was one of their sales managers. I thought I was a fucking shoe. I thought I did a really good interview. Shaved my fucking beard and didn't get a job.
It sucks.
Couldn't have been more good.
Would you do anything funky with it? Like I saw this guy, man. If you keep growing it, then you can like start doing like knots in it, and it looks really cool. Or you could like attach this bit, and you can attach it to a long moustache. I've seen that as well. But it depends how you make the attachment.
Thing is, grow your mustache out. You've got to get very, very long, I think, to get to the point where it's no longer getting in the way of eating soup, cereal. Anything you would eat with a spoon is ruined with a mustache that's just the wrong length. That's why I keep mine quite short.
Would you get rid of the moustache and just have a beard?
Like mutton chops, handlebars. I don't think so. I'm not just doing it. It's just that I reckon that I'd do it, and a week later I'd be like, I want to go back to a full beard now. And then you've got to wait about a month. So, no, I haven't. Do you know what? Maybe, hey, when we hit 1 million subscribers, I'll consider it.
Deal agreed.
That's a good deal.
I think 1 million, you should shave everything and keep just the beard. Look like a hard nut. Eyebrows, everything.
I'm pretty confident we're going to hit 1 million any day now. So I don't want to, I don't want to give away everything all at once. Maybe 20 million. I'll do a handlebar mustache. I think that's fair. For 1 million, I'll consider something. But yeah.
I'm assuming you're picking Rakmanov. What's your method?
I'm going to go with decision. But yeah, Rakmanov is a scary fucking dude. I think he can finish Harris, but I don't know, Harris doesn't. I don't think he's been finished ever. If he has, it was very early on in his career. Guy doesn't really lose very often. Rakmanov's a beast. Decision just felt respectful, but like it was kind of a toss-up. This could go anyway for Rakmanov. This could go anyway for Rakmanov.
Thanks for the clarification. Right, a fight that I think we're also pretty confident is only going to go one way. Sam Alvey against Phil Hall. I love the fact that Dana White is so nice to Sam Alvey after losing 6 in a row. He's like, this guy, he'll fight anybody. He's not going anywhere. And yet you still decide to reward that loyalty and willingness to fight anyone by making him fight a guy he's just not going to beat. Like, Phil Hall's lost his last fight, but he's still really fucking good.
And getting better every fight. Well, maybe not. I'd say. But the guy has gone from a power puncher to a volume puncher with still fucking nasty power. Like, he lives in a pineapple under the sea. Sam Alvey's going to get his fucking head caved in. I think it's decision. I'm saying it's a decision, but I don't know. I'm calling it now. I reckon it's going to be like a 30-26, maybe a 30-25.
Sam Alvey is a great example of you kind of need to have a willingness to engage to get knocked out. Like, he's just one of those people that will lose ugly. He won't get finished because he'll never put himself in danger, but he'll never really have a chance of winning the fight. So, I'm saying Phil Hawes. I am going to say decision, and it's over to Slide.
Phil Hawes knockout.
Nice and simple. This next fight is my second favorite fight I'm looking forward to on the card, because we have got the Ultimate Fighter 2021 finale that we should have had in 2021. Tressie and Gore got injured. He did not get a chance to battle Brian Battle. But now he gets the opportunity. Brian Battle, he's in the UFC. He's the Ultimate Fighter. He took that chance. He made the most of it. But I still think that Tressie and Gore was the guy that I looked at. Everyone thought in the house he was the guy. Watching the fights that he was able to take part in, I thought he was the guy. I think he's the guy, man. I think he wins this. And I think he wins by decision.
Well, I have no idea. Brian Battle, because he's got Battle in his name, will win by decision.
Have a wild guess what his cage name is. Bear in mind, his name is Battle. His actual name is
I
Battle.
already said it.
Go on.
Pooh Bear.
Really?
His fight
To be
name
fair,
is Pooh Bear.
he's never liked it. It's one of those ones that just stuck. I'm going Sean Gore by KO. It's not like he's been on the sidelines and Brian's been super busy or anything. Like, Brian's had one fight since the finale, right?
Correct.
Which he lost.
No, I don't think he's had a fight. I think he won his UFC. I think he won the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know if he's fought since then.
Anyway, I'm going Sean Gore by knockout.
Sorry, guys, I've got a quick announcement to make.
Go for it.
Just because it just came up as on my thing. Henry Cejudo re-enters the USADA testing pool, which means that a featherweight comeback is almost guaranteed.
So he was officially out of the testing pool. So all of that shit last month was just bluster.
Pretty much, because he's not going to be able to fight for 6 months.
Well, they will make exceptions here and there, but that was pretty much because there was no way they could let anyone test Brock Lesnar before the fight.
Dude, they made exceptions because they knew he was on steroids.
Yeah.
And the one time they made an exception,
and Mark Hunt still has to
their
pay
face.
their fucking legal fees.
Oh, buddy, we don't. We'll do a whole episode on the antitrust lawsuit. that deserves its own special rung of fucking attention and hatred. My phone just died, so someone else is going to have to run through the rest of fights.
Julian Rosa against Steven Peterson.
It's GCJ.
Yeah, this could be a good fight, you know.
The answer is still going to be GCJ. I'm going GCJ knockout.
I'm going to go Steven Peterson by decision.
I'm a big GCJ fan. Peterson is no bum. I'm going to go Rosa by decision.
On to the prelims.
Miles Johns against John Castaneda.
I'm going Miles Johns. I'll say decision.
Miles Johns, KO.
I'm going to go Miles Johns as well. I'm also going decision.
Next fight.
Ultimate Fighter winner Mike Trezano against Super Hakeem Dawodu. I think this could be a fucking barn burner, to be honest. I don't even know who the favorite is in this one, to be honest. I don't know if anyone's looked up the odds for this, but I think Hakeem probably is going to be slightly favored. But I got to feel Mike Trezano is pretty good, you know. He's long, he's rangy. I remember Hakeem fighting another dude that's like 5'11", pushing 6 foot. So I'm going to go Trezano by decision.
Nice. This is going to be a good fight. I am leaning slightly the other way on Dawodu, but it's going to be close. I'm saying Dawodu decision.
Yeah, that would do by knockout. That will do.
And next fight.
All right. Power Bar, Marc-Andre Barrios against Chidi Njokuani, who I think is coming off the Contender Series.
Must be, man. I think so when I looked up.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just going with what I know.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the guy has no gas tank, but in busts, he looks kind of impressive. I'm going to go power bar. I've written it down. I wrote KO, so I'll stick with it. I'm going to go power bar by KO.
I'll go decision.
Chitino Chukwani by KO.
Sly being the contrarian.
Always worries me because he wins too often in the picks.
This is true.
Actually, how did you guys do last week?
We'll do the picks for this one, and then we can go back to the week before.
Okay. All right. Welterweight, Jason Witt against Philip Rowe. Oof. I reckon this one's probably about even on the odds as well, you know. I'm going to go with Rowe by sub.
I said Rowe, but I didn't pick a method, so I'm just going to say decision.
All right, Rowe by KO.
Got all three possibilities. And should be, you think, one more fight?
Three more.
Three more.
Have any been scrapped today? I haven't.
No. I'm just miscalculating.
Some of these may have been scrapped already. Former title challenger, Alexis Davis. Sorry, God, you take the second half.
Oh yeah, I see what you're doing there. Against
I am.
Against Julia Stolienko.
Good pronunciation.
Stolienko will win this by decision.
Bold. Josh, do you want to go next?
I'm going the exact same fucking way. I do think Davis is probably going to be favored in this one. There's got to be near enough a decade between them. You know, Davis is more or less 40. I think Stoliarenko's south of 30. Stoliarenko did have the weight cut issue, gets to reschedule it, lost it, coming off the loss. I still think that she's not that bad. She really isn't that bad. Davis is old as fuck. Stoliarenko decision just feels right.
You guys are nuts. Your only experiences in the UFC of Stoliarenko so far is her failing weight twice, passing out twice, the same weight effort, then fighting later, losing, and yet you're not backing Alexis Davis, who recently has beaten younger, up-and-coming fighters, establishing how good she really is.
Stoliarenko looked good on the Ultimate Fighter. I'll stand by that.
Got to get past the weight issue first, and whether she looks as bad as she did.
Hang on. I've got to call you on this because I just pulled up the record. Since beating Liz Carmouche in 2017, the only fighter she's beat is Sabina Mazo, who I'm trying to think back. I can't remember this fight specifically, but sometimes Mazo does come out and look proper dog shit. Mazo can be really bad. She's lost to Araujo, Maya, Chukagian, Kianzad, coming back up 35. I think Stoliarenko, she's going to bounce her around.
Well, we can agree to disagree. That's why we do a pick show, and that's why this pick show is also competitive. So I'm going Alexis Davis by decision.
It's probably going to happen, though.
And I swear, Alexis Davis has won a fight more recently than that.
No. She's 1-4 in her last 5.
When did she fight Sabrina Mazo?
That was 2 fights ago.
February a year ago.
Okay. Still recent. Mazo is still, decent fighter.
She can be good. I can't remember this fight, to be honest. It's just like I am acutely aware that Mazo can shit the bed. So, anyway, moving on. Danilo Marquez against Gelton Almeida, who I'm assuming is a debutant. I don't recognize that first name. Coming off of the Contender Series. Guys on an 8-fight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 count. You had Josh 9-fight win streak. But Danilo Marquez is an all right fighter. He beat Mike Rodriguez. I guess a lot of people have beaten Mike Rodriguez these days.
Did he lose to Kennedy and Zekachu?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
standing KO.
I am gonna go with Danilo Marquez. I remember when he beat Slow Mike, I was pretty impressed. I thought he looked like a really dangerous guy. And in that Nzekuchu fight, he was winning that fight until he lost it. He went for a body triangle stand-in to try and get a rear naked choke, and just completely tired his legs out and didn't get the choking. So I think he'll learn. I'll say Marquez by submission.
Yeah, I'll take Marquez by decision.
Almeida by decision. I'm going to get
Next
my
fight.
lead in early.
Malcolm Gordon against Dennis Bondar.
I'll go first on this one. I'll say Malcolm Gordon. Going what I know, I'll say Gordon by decision. Picking a lot of decisions.
Oh, I'll go for Gordon by KO.
Man, I love the fact that it's Malcolm X Gordon. That's a great fucking nickname. Like, sometimes if you like make your nickname like an existing famous person, you're playing with fire, it can quite often be awful. But Malcolm X is pretty cool. Or actually, Malcolm X is really cool. I'm going to go with Bondar though. I'm just going to buy into the hype. I'm going to go Bondar by sub.
Nice. Does that work with any level of famousness? Like, if you had a fighter whose name was like Denzel, I'll take a footballer's name, Denzel Mims. Does that mean that if he fought and he's made his ring name Denzel Washington Mims, you'd think that was cool? No, that's a very specific example.
Yeah. That specific example, yes. Like, if your name was Jim and you made your fight nickname Jim Belushi, whatever your name is, awful. You've really fucked that up. You've cocked that up a treat. That's awful. It really, really depends on who you're going to pick.
Okay, what about if a white guy had his surname and his surname was King and he decided to use his ring name to be Luther? Would that be cool?
Only if his first
King
name
Luther.
was also Martin would that even work.
If he was white, and I mean like ginger.
So if he's white and his name was Martin King Jr. and he decided to make his cage name Luther.
Not weighing in on that one. Yeah, I'm not trying to get cancelled out of it. Fuck you.
What I'd say is, I think his career, he would definitely get a lot more political questions during his career.
Should we talk about some real news then?
Come on, let's move on to the news.
Let's talk about stuff that's important. Who would win an MMA fight between Dana White and Jake Paul?
Well, obviously Jake Paul.
Are you 100%?
He's
Dana White does train quite a lot of jiu-jitsu and he outweighs him by at least 30, 40 pounds.
Dana White is in his mid-50s and Jake Paul is in his athletic prime, whether you like him or not, is an athlete who did some wrestling at high school. I'm not saying he was some high-grade wrestler, because he wasn't, but he's not without the ability. He knocked out Tyron Woodley. What are we talking about here, guys?
Wait, hang on. Sorry, does Dana White have to come into this fight clean? Because he's very obviously on TRT or maybe some even better shit. But, you know, the guy is juiced to the fucking gills and has a much, much better ground game than Jake Paul. I don't know that it's so simple. If he has to completely get all of the steroids out of his system, if they have to schedule it like 2-3 years down the line, yeah, I'll go Jake Paul. But
No, I mean like June.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
here's
if
the
it's in
thing.
June and he can piss hot, yeah, I don't know.
Dana White is fucking crazy when it comes to shit like this. Do you know about the Tito Ortiz story? Okay, so Tito Ortiz used to be, before Dana White ran the UFC, he was Tito Ortiz's manager. And he obviously, when he became effectively, went from being his manager to his boss, it led to the two of them kind of butting heads a little bit more, because it was kind of like a switch of the relationship. So they're trying to get Tito to sign a new contract. And he starts being an absolute dick about it and demands that there's a clause in there that Dana White and him get to fight a boxing match or something like that. I think it was like, I get to punch him in the face. And Dana responds by saying, we can do this if you agree to have a boxing match with me. Like 3 rounds, your boxing is shit. I don't care if you're a professional UFC fighter in the light heavyweight division. I will fucking own you in a boxing match. And Tito apparently agreed, and Dana trained for like 3 fucking months or something like that. He made a whole little documentary series that was going to release in the build up to the fight, that apparently is recorded and cut and out there somewhere. But he was 100% in. And then, like, last minute, Tito kind of went like, oh, don't be stupid, guys. I would never fight my boss. I wouldn't want to hurt him and all this kind of shit.
So yeah, so Dana White would probably win.
I would put my money
guess
on
Jake
Jake
Paul.
Paul.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that's the longest we've got Josh to talk about Jake Paul for.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive. Wonder what else we can get him to talk about that he doesn't like.
Ooh, you want to talk about McGregor?
I know what else we talk about, man. We had fucking Bellator last weekend.
No, God, he loves talking about Bellator. That's his favourite one.
Josh is trying to provide a well-balanced MMA show covering more than just
the main cards.
the UFC. And if you follow this, and let's be honest, although I wouldn't say that I'm nearly as good at Josh at following it at the moment, if this UFC antitrust lawsuit goes in the direction in the next few years that it very well might do, or have the repercussions, we might all have to start watching a few more of these, because a lot of these fighters are going to start spilling across into these other divisions if shit doesn't improve. So Bellator, Ryan Bader, man, just when people start to count him out and you think the guy's finished, look what happened at light heavyweight, he pulls it through and retains and unifies his heavyweight belt. What more can you say?
Yeah, now 2-1 against Camp Fedor. Although he'll never ever. Well, I don't think he'll ever make 205 again. But he not a lot of people could beat Nemkov. Nemkov is a fucking beast. This was impressive. Even more impressive was Benson Anderson, kind of upsetting the odds, beating Islam Mamedov in what is actually his final fight in his contract, I think. And he is seriously considering retirement right now. So that might be the last time we see smooth Ben Henderson.
Well, you know who else retired, mate? Paul Daley.
Oh shit! I haven't seen this. Get out of town. Why?
Yeah.
Semtex, no.
He's just putting an end to his 19-fight career. He's got nothing else to prove. He's moving on to other things.
That's true. I mean, he was kind of just taking fights at like 175. Shit, you know. And I think MVP is going to be booked for the next title shot. Going to forego the trilogy fight with Lima. Maybe. Well, I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to win, but maybe he's going to bank on that trilogy afterwards just for a bit of money on his way out of Bellator. I don't know.
I think that's what he's probably.
Sucks. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's what he's probably thinking. I would not favour him in the title fight or in a Lima fight that's 5 rounds, if I'm perfectly honest. So if you lose the title fight, you know you can always drop back to the Lima trilogy for relevance. If you lose the Lima trilogy first, you don't get the title shot. So smarter way to play it. He's been kind of bouncing back and forth between those two anyway. Like after he won the rematch with Lima, he was saying he wants the bling, he wants to be the champ. Then 20 minutes later, he's saying he wants the trilogy fight with Lima. So we'll see if that takes a few more turns. But I'm not sure anybody really knows exactly how they've wanted to kind of move ahead with MVP.
It's like you got to cash in sooner or later, right? They get too much shit for putting the opponents in front of them that they have been. So it's just one of those weird fucking things. But honestly, Amasov is just kryptonite for MVP. I know theoretically he can just land that punch and he could beat anyone, on his night. If they allow him the distance and the time, sure. Amasov's not going to do that. So yeah. It's like, yeah, sure. All right. Maybe, roll the dice, see what you can do. Maybe, who knows? Probably won't though. And then, yeah, fuck it. You just go fight Lima again. So, and like you say, over a 5-round fight, that really doesn't favor him. So the 3-rounder against Lima, that's possible. That's doable. Yeah. I just, it's MVP is a person I love. I love him as a fighter. Love him as a person, the way he talks about things. I think the guy's pretty upfront and honest about shit, and he's not trying to chase shit he doesn't need to chase. He's not trying to force his way into the UFC. He's not trying to go like, oh yeah, I'm like the best ever. It's just not who he is. Like, he has some antics when he's in the cage. He's a very, very humble person. I think he just understands, like, just get paid what you're worth and put on the best show you can. Guy doesn't disappoint. Very different to Paul Daley, to be honest, in their kind of principles and their outset. I'm gutted. Semtex is gone. I had tickets, for Semtex against Rory McDonald, but Axis, the ticket handlers, bastards, cancelled him.
Oh shit!
I didn't find out until I got there. That was a long drive home.
Listen, man, he's one of the pioneers of British MMA. A title challenger in Strikeforce, staple of Bellator. He's had some great fights. He's had some fun fights, some good wins, some good losses, entertaining losses, I should say. One stinker against MVP and a hell of a 19-year career.
And a
He
stinker
will be
against
missed.
John Fitch. You remember he heckled the fight before it was even over. He was booing John Fitch while John Fitch had his
Yeah, and saying on the ground, this is boring.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you my the time that Paul Daley got me to embarrass myself massively through no?
Oh, is this when you you were talking to some girl or something like that?
Yeah.
And you assumed that her saying that she knows Paul Daley was her, or she had a mate that was going out with Paul Daley or something like that, or was in his camp. I can't remember. You tell the story.
My brother was one of his trainers. Yeah, he is. This guy was like, "Oh, I know who Paul Daley is," and I'm like, "No, Paul Semtex Daley, not Tom Daley, the Olympic diver."
Yeah. You both assumed that not only was she thinking that it was the diver, but that she also had that diver's name wrong, and in fact were correct to find out she knew exactly.
And then shows me pictures of her brother with Tom Daley, with Paul Daley that she has on her phone, with him training Semtex, and I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
Blew your chance to meet him.
No, that was never on the cards.
Yeah, you could have played your cards right and got there.
Nottingham's a long way away. I was never going to drive up there.
That's true.
Fuck that. Fuck the North. Kidding.
Did anyone watch any of Eagle FC, by the way? I haven't had a chance to catch it. I've seen the results, but
yeah, I was about to move on to that. I haven't seen the fights. I've seen some of the highlights though. Shit, I'm gonna fuck his name back. Karatinov against Byron Spong. Karatinov, yeah, just as you'd kind of expect, just manhandled Spong in MMA. But fair play to he does boxing, does MMA. Like, the guy just shies away from nothing. He'll take on any challenge. Big fan of Tyrone Spong.
Didn't he fight Usyk in Usyk's first heavyweight fight or something like that? Or he was scheduled to, I think. I'm not sure if he ended up making the fight.
I think the Usyk one fell apart. He fought against, I guess, on the one with the computer, so I'll look it up.
Have a look.
Who else was on Eagle
Rashad
FC?
Evans comes back from retirement, debuts on Eagle FC, gets a win. I mean, and I haven't seen the highlights, but just the commentary booth alone, having Usman next to Cejudo talking about the fights, I think it was when you're Khabib, you can pull in a lot of big name favors and connections. So it will be interesting to see the space. I'm a little nervous about Sanchez versus Kevin Lee, though. That I think is going to be a disaster.
Yeah, that will. That's an absolute mismatch. The other one I was going to say was Ray Borg. Ray Borg got a win. He's a guy who has been through a lot of personal adversity. His child just constantly in and out of hospital, in and out of surgeries, constantly had to pull out of fights, just went through a lot. UFC were as understanding as I think they could be, but just really glad to see the guy not just back making money, but back getting wins and looking good, looking impressive. I don't know if you've seen it. At one point, just fights his way through the low block, just waves off the ref like we're not stopping the fight right now. He kicked me in the nuts, but I'm going to keep going. Just beautiful to have Ray Borg back in it.
Much needed as well, man. The end of his UFC run was a little rough.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just sorry. I just looked it up. Apparently, Spong hasn't boxed since 2019. So I guess after the Usyk fight fell through, just nothing.
Just didn't do it. C'est la vie. Is there any other news stories anybody else wants to cover before we wrap it up?
I've got some. UFC London in March.
Yep.
Well, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett.
Oh, the London lineup. Go on.
Yeah. So he promises that he will have the greatest walkout ever at UFC London.
I'm happy for him.
They're going to start in the car park, Matt.
Oh, Kevin Holland.
The whole song.
Yeah, I know it's going to be amazing, man. Kevin Holland's been trolled by this guy for like almost a year now. So he decided to confront him in a grappling match. And Kevin Holland choked him out.
Standard.
Jorge Masvidal Jorge Masvidal believes that Donald Trump favors him over Kobe Covington for the next fight.
Probably.
Oh, Conor McGregor says that he will.
That's what's important.
Conor McGregor says that he will fight sober. He's going to sober up for his next fight. Yeah, he's actually going to take
Just
it
like
seriously.
everybody else does it.
I know. Juliana Pena is heartbroken and she's crying herself to bed because Khabib downplayed the Amanda Nunes win.
The thing is, I've seen those comments from Khabib, and it's not that I think he's incorrect. I just think that he's being very blunt about something that people can be upset about. If you actually look at what he said that he didn't really think that her win made her some great fighter. And I think what he was trying, and what I agree, because he kind of said the thing with female sports is there's only like 5 or 6 of them that are elite at the top. And I don't think that's necessarily incorrect. What I think is wrong is to assume that just because the rest aren't at that elite level, that the standard is not extremely high. I think that's the point that's been missed. Like, yes, you can see a remarkable difference between this, and okay, Pena won the fight, but you can see from the hand speed, the power, all this kind of stuff, the way punches land, that one of them is just usually at a higher level, particularly if you look at like a Valentina or a Rose with the technique. But you can't be that unfair about it. You can't really dismiss what's happening in that sport, which is that it's progressing really quickly. The level's improving really quickly. It's just a little bit behind the men in terms of the time that it's had to progress and improve. But it's improving way faster than men's MMA did. If you date back from when men were fighting in the UFC, you know, those were not high level guys compared to what you've got to now.
The coaching wasn't very high level back then. It was a total kind of mess of styles. But yeah, like they definitely, it's much easier to see the women's like game develop quicker because you do have like so much improved infrastructure and training philosophies. And because before it was a very small pool they were like drawing from, and it's a lot more popular with women now. And you have a lot more women actually training MMA and from a younger age, like kind of training things that they're going to be able to then use as a transferable skill set in MMA. It's fucking exploding. It's getting real deep real quick.
And the other factor is that really, I mean, although I would say that bantamweight is not a stacked women's division by any stretch, if you look at what's happening in women's flyweight, if you look at the strawweights, those are divisions that are getting deep. The strawweights are stacked with high level talent going all the way through. So I don't think it's a fair comment about the whole of women's UFC by any stretch. I think it's a reasonable comment to make in that division. But that's not what he said. He can be a little blunt these days. Like he's had a dig at the UFC in his Eagle FC press conference before the event, saying if you don't pay your fighters better, Eagle FC's here, you're going to lose them. And he's not wrong. It's just he's in a powerful position. He's kind of untouchable, and he's sort of just saying, giving no fucks and saying what he thinks.
Well, do you think he signs in Ngannou with a clause that he can take additional fights outside of the sport?
Fuck yeah. He makes the offer at least.
He apparently, you're going to love this, like, he made an offer to Jake Paul. I've brought him up to time. But he's offered Jake Paul a contract.
For MMA or for boxing?
For MMA. Like, it's Eagle FC.
I don't see Jake Paul taking that contract. Talking about UFC London, how about that Tom Aspinall versus Volkov main event?
It's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah,
Volkov will win
that's
quite
what I'm
easily.
saying.
Oh,
And
I wouldn't
Arnold Allen
rule.
against Dan Hooker.
That's a great fight. Paddy Pimblett is taking on who again?
Vargas. I just had to look up, so I didn't know. But Rodrigo Vargas,
Ah,
who's he lost to Brock Weaver and Alex Silva. Got a win over Zhu Rong.
okay, so they're building him up slow still.
Yeah. As they should.
As they should. That's everything from my side, guys. Anything else we want to discuss before we cut it up?
Yeah. Nurmagomedov, Said Nurmagomedov really wants to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's been all over Twitter and everywhere calling him out, saying you never respond to my offers. So yeah, he's all after trying to fight O'Malley. It's not a good fight. I don't think it's a good fight for Nurmagomedov.
If I'm the UFC, I don't go anywhere near that fight until there's like a number 1 and a number 2 or a little C next to their names. You don't spoil that fight by putting them on before they're ranked. Not a chance. Saeed is like all of the things that you love about Sean O'Malley's fight style, like the craziness and the spins. It's all of that times like 10, but he's got a ground game as well.
Yeah, and they're looking to renegotiate with O'Malley at the moment, so they're definitely going to be banking and like cashing in on him against people in name value. It's not happening anytime soon.
No.
Actually, I say that we don't know if both of them keep on rising. It's inevitable, but
you want it when it's got hype.
Yeah.
You know, it's
the
like
thing
the
is
certain...
Nurmagomedov's like the Nurmagomedov that's not related to the other Nurmagomedovs. He's like a separate Nurmagomedov, so you can't even really like push the whole Nurmagomedov thing. If anything, it's like a hindrance because you've got what recently has been pushed as the greatest of all time. I mean, he's got some dude with the same name, same surname. That's got nothing to do with him. It's almost like people are going to assume.
How scary would it be though if you end up with Khabib being like this dominant lightweight champion, Makhachev comes in and becomes his kind of prodigy champion, and then 2 weight classes down, you have a guy who also becomes champion down the road. Same name, no connection. And I think on that note, we should wrap it up, guys.
Bye.
Thanks all for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. Enjoy the fights. We'll be back next week to talk about what happened and break it all down. Bye Dave, bye Laurie, bye Tree.